Hey everyone, JC of StarCraft here, bringing you Game 1 of the finals for the Go4SC2 number 35 between Naama and mouzMana. So, two names that are very similar to each other. Mana from the mousesports clan, a 16-year-old, I think he's 16, from Poland, and Naama is the 17-year-old from Finland. Both these players incredibly strong. Mana last week and is laughing at the name because I think they're so close to each other, Naama, Mana, which will probably get confusing during the cast itself. And anyways, Mana last week was placed second in the Craft Cup number 5, having a pretty interesting time against Night End. That was Protoss versus Protoss. And Naama, of course, has won a few Go4SC2s, recently played in the August final where he was able to best Whiterun in the quarterfinals, but unable to move on in the semis against Naniwa. So right now, back in the thick of things, already back in another Go4SC2 final. Naama, a very strong contender from Finland and a very creative Terran player to watch. Great with this micro and great with consistent harassment. I've noticed in the quarter and semifinals that, and I'm going to try to pay more attention right here, he tries to crank out one extra SCV before moving in. So throwing down, it looks like a pretty standard 12 racks right now, and going to be going with a 13 refinery, but he has been trying to sneak in one extra SCV, so getting the orbital on 16 rather than 15, to kind of eke out a small advantage, and then tries to cement that advantage later on down the line during his harass, and tries to get as many SCV or probe kills as possible. Although that was Terran versus Terran that I saw him do that. I'm not quite sure if he's going to do the same thing against a Protoss opponent. It would be decently safe here on Kulos Ravine, largely because the rush distance and the time to discover your opponent, as Mana right now is walking across the field, still trying to figure out where everything is, and Naama going to be going down. Where is he going to scout first is the big question. It looks like he's not going to be touching the Xel'Naga Watchtower running by. Not a big fan of that, as that can reveal information as you run through. I forgot which player it was, but one player once touched one Xel'Naga and then just waited at the other one, kind of got his scout a little bit earlier and saw the other scout going down. So it looks like Mana's going to be getting the first scout right now, although it might die pretty quickly to this Marine. Naama trying to scout, trying to kite his Marine a little bit to kill that probe before he can get in, and it looks like the orbital has already finished at this point. And so while I was guessing, I couldn't really definitively say, yes, it did actually look like he pumped out the extra SCV before he got his orbital. So trying to eke out some sort of advantage there. It makes for pretty interesting timing in mirror matches on Terran versus Terran, as it does mean that his units come out a little bit later, probably like 20 to 30 seconds later than his opponent. But things even out in the end, and he was able to take out Tarson, so not an easy feat at all. And right now, Mana going to be chrono boosting away, so getting that early, slightly early harvester advantage. But Naama going to be cranking out the mules to even these out for a little bit. So it looks like Naama has going to be going for some sort of 1-1-1 against his opponent as well. And throwing the reactor down, might be getting out early Hellions to try to go in and do some harassment if he can, or might just be pumping out Marines to supplement and going Marine tanks. Not really quite sure at this point what exactly he's going to do. Looks like he is going to be pumping out a bunch of Marines and throwing down the tech lab right now. Meanwhile, looking at Mana, Mana has gone with a very standard opening as well, and doing, kind of hiding away. Looks like he's going to be going 2 or 3 gate robo at this point, but hiding his structures out and spreading them out so that if a scan does go down, his opponent won't be able to see what is going on. So warp gate is being researched. It looks like he is going to be going with a 3-gate robo, 3-gate warp robo, and we should be seeing that observer come out as soon as this is finished, so he can gain sight of where his opponent is going at this point. Naama now just going to be working on his macro. No major early pressure at this point, as the rush they are cross map, and that rush distance is enormous. So by the time they ran in, they would be up against a pretty formidable force, and Naama would be unable to reinforce at this point. Really looks like he's going to be working on trying to establish his expansion and getting ready for the mid game, where most of the action is going to occur on this map. Naama now just going to make sure that nothing tricky is going on, taking the other Xel'Naga Watchtower at this point, and looking at the production. A few sentries now coming out for Mana. The observer is on its way already and moving out across the map. And Mana now going to be trying to hold this Naga Watchtower, so he should see any action coming down at him. And I think that this Marine is about to meet its untimely death. Or no, he's just going to walk all the way down. He'll meet his untimely death anyways, because it looks like he's on a move command and not even going to attack. Just ignoring that Stalker, not a good idea, as that did kill him in the end. So in general, don't ignore Stalkers when they're firing at you, because you'll probably die. Now the Stalker is going to be moving up. And it looks like a proxy pylon already planted down for Mana, so Mana going to be applying some very early pressure. Warp Gate technology is finished for him, and summoning a few more Stalkers right now. Meanwhile, it looks like Naama does have siege research and does have a tank up on the cliff, which will definitely help him hold this off for a bit right now. It looks like he did salvage his bunker, but does see what is coming in, and unfortunately not going to be able to finish that bunker in time, which might be pretty crucial right now. And kind of retreating his tanks, pulling off some SCVs to help him battle, absorb the damage on the front line, and I think he should be able to hold this off at this point. Meanwhile, just getting the orbital during all this crazy action going down. And so now forced to push Mana away. Mana is going to be reinforcing right now with several more units on the field. Looking at the looking at the army count, it is 50 over 37 right now. So that 3-gate Robo catching Naama just a little bit off guard, who focused going for his expansion. And I think this might unfortunately be it for Naama at this point. So so it looks like Mana going with the 1-base push and is successful on that end. Now Naama doesn't have that much left out there and really forced to GG pretty soon. So going to be even salvaging that bunker because he doesn't really need it, but it looks like, can he pump out enough units in time? I don't think he will be able to, as Mana has even more Stalkers now in the base, and now Naama's economy is crippled. I was caught up a little bit in their name pronunciation. And so Naama's still trying to hold out a little bit, but this tank unable to siege and unable to really do anything. So good game from Naama, good 1-base push by, by Mana and catching his opponent off guard, moving in when he saw it. So it looks like Lost Temple is the next map. This has been JCS StarCraft, and Mana is up 1-0.